Good morning from Surrey.
Hello from Winnipeg.
Is it still morning? Yes, it is still morning.
It is, yes.
How are you doing? I haven't talked to you in a couple of weeks.
I know. Things are good.
Yep. Work
Yeah.
is busy. My work is busy.
Yes, it is.
I was actually quite surprised and happily surprised to see my patients rushing back in to keep
Yeah.
keep going and meeting new patients and everything.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And it's interesting the topic we have today, digestion. I think it's huge, and you and
Huge.
I mean, huge.
Hmm.
And so we're just going to pick a couple of topics to talk about. This is one we can come back to lots of times for our viewers because there's lots of different issues. But
Yes.
why don't you start for us, Sharae? I believe you were going to talk about some
Constipation.
slow moving stuff.
So in Chinese medicine, constipation can be seen from different perspectives like dryness or stuck energy. But a lot of times people don't understand that it could be associated with grief and sadness. So if you're hanging on to it, then hanging on to those emotions, then you're going to hang on to your poop. So one is to release those emotions, whether that be through acupuncture, through, therapy. I love, like I said, tapping. I've talked about this before, psychotherapy. Go for it. Release those emotions. And then on the physical side, I always recommend flaxseed,
Mm. Do you
pop
recommend it be ground or eat it whole?
ground. Yeah, if you're gonna eat it whole, you'll have to really non those
Yeah.
seeds. Popcorn's a good one too. And
Oh,
then
good.
yeah, hemp hearts, chia seeds, but I'm not a huge fan of chia seeds because they're just so wet and damp forming.
Mhm.
And then obviously like fruits, vegetables, leafy greens, lots of water. You can even put your flax in water, kind of like Metamucil and so forth, and get moving.
Right. I
So
actually just learned about, I never knew that the ground flax in water is the vegan form of an egg. That's a flax
that's
egg.
great.
Yeah.
Yes.
I use it in baking now when I make vegan
Mhm.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's ultimately my take on constipation, quick and easy.
It's interesting. You were talking about letting go of those emotions and different methods. And something I think would be interesting for people to explore is Reiki or energy.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, I had a Reiki treatment just to experiencing it, and it was definitely about clearing and letting go. And
Mm.
that's probably a great addition to acupuncture and all your diet,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
Well, I was going to talk about bloating, and I have a couple of friends who have crazy bloats. I have a friend who, up to as recently as a year ago, she could look normal in the morning and 6 months pregnant in the evening, and it was so shocking and amazing how much gas can build up in the stomach
Right.
every single day,
Yeah.
just expansion like that.
Mhm.
And more recently, I've been experiencing bloating for the first time. So
Yeah.
um, this is something that's pretty straightforward to treat with Chinese medicine. When we look at it, there can be a few organ systems involved. Obviously, your spleen and stomach systems. So in the stomach part, you're not you're not we call it rotting, but you're not rotting that food
Right.
properly. You don't have enough fire maybe in your stomach. So recommendations would be warmer foods, warmer drinks, um, and less spice actually, because too much
Right.
spice is bad. And then in the spleen system, we're always talking, you and I, about deficient spleen energy and qi deficiency and damp and phlegm. And so again, we want like lightly steamed vegetables, stay away from too much fruit, and definitely 100%, and this is what I never listen to, don't drink ice water. And I love ice water, but especially with your meals, drinking cold water with your meals will turn off your digestive fire, and then that gas just starts to build up.
Mhm.
um, and then the third organ system involved with bloating is liver. So kind of like with constipation, people don't think about grief, and that's our lung lungs, but also that emotion. Stress, big time, impacts bloating. And so getting the liver has, physically enzymes and bile, but metaphysically it soothes and smooths. So stress reduction, and one of the best ways is to move through walking. So that's good physically for your digestive system. It's also really good for your liver energy. And then specifically bloating, maybe even more than constipation, I'd say self-massage around the navel.
True.
Clockwise, like 36 to 50 circles with good pressure. And then those two awesome points right here, right? Large intestine. This is also good for constipation, moves energy, but large intestine linked to the liver. And then kind of right across the hand, small intestine.
Right.
You've got those two systems you can massage with acupressure. And that's that tummy massage. And then maybe add a little bit of like an orange peel tea or a dandelion tea. So a little bit more bitter without it being spicy.
Yes.
And you should see that bloat reduce and even possibly go away.
I agree. And bloating is so huge. The whole digestive system is so massive to speak just on this segment. But
and I forgot to say, and this, everyone's probably heard this, but most commonly the culprits nowadays are wheat, dairy, sugar.
Oh yeah.
And so my one particular friend who lived with this for decades, she ultimately had to cut out completely most of that, and her bloating situation is much better. Just that, those are just really bad for bloating.
Yeah. Neat.
Yeah. What's your tip this week?
I'm going to suggest supporting local. I'm sure we all try to, but whether that be, your local grocer, your fitness shop,
especially right now, right? It's so many businesses suffering.
Yeah. So support local.
Yeah. It was so, during the quarantine, it was so easy to just order everything off that one giant company, but you're right. It's time to get back out there and support our local businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not just restaurants too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. My tip was, it actually kind of goes along with stress reduction, but it's also mood elevation. And I'm wearing my "Today is a Good Day" shirt.
Oh, awesome.
And kind of links to what I was going to say, and I didn't actually plan that, but studies show that exposing yourself to just 3 minutes of news in the morning, whether that's on the TV, radio, your phone, whatever, you are 30% more likely to report having a bad day 7 hours later.
Sure.
So have a good day and set yourself up by just don't do it. It's okay. Maybe look at those headlines way later in the day, or maybe don't even look at them every day. It's amazing how little they change day to day. Maybe once a week, twice a week, you really need to tune in. But I would say experiment with staying away from the news when you wake up.
Sure. Does that include social media?
Well, not really, although social media is not great for you either. But this is more just news headlines.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, great tip.
No, you should definitely watch videos on Instagram like this. So I'll talk to you in a couple of weeks, and that will be
summer segment. Amazing.
Yeah. We're going to talk about the shift into summer from a Chinese medicine perspective.
Great. All right.
See you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, you bet.
Happy birthdays.
You as well.
Bye.
Bye.